what do we need to know about the lunar eclipse that's going to happen on September 7th? And maybe more importantly, what could we be able to learn? Welcome to Trevor's Tarot Astrology and Spirituality. First off, a huge thank you to everybody who's subscribed to the channel. Thank you for liking, watching, commenting on the videos, sharing the videos, promoting the channel on your own social media platforms, watching the videos all the way to the end. A huge, huge thank you. These are the things that promote the algorithm and send the videos to more people. So a big, big thank you. I am offering a YouTube membership if you're interested. That link will be below. It's on my other channel, Scrying Out Loud. So check that out if you're interested. There's some um, perks as well on future things. So okay, so the lunar eclipse on Sunday, September 7th, feels like it's going to be quite revealing. It feels like it's going to, in some ways, allow us to shed some of our past beliefs and move into a new belief system. That might be a bit extreme and drawn out a little bit too much, but because I think it'll be far more subtle than that. But I do believe that it's going to reveal some potential strengths that we didn't know we had as individuals. So we're going to do a collective read, and then I'm going to go through the 12 signs and just throw a few cards to see what we can pick up for the signs. Of course, this isn't, a personal reading. So okay, so let's start with the Angels and Ancestors Oracle deck, I think. And let's just throw, I don't know, three cards, I think, for the collective. What should we know about the eclipse? Energies for the collective. This feel like is a huge opportunity for personal growth to really discover a part of ourselves that we didn't know that was there. Definitely getting, there's a couple of you working on, like, I don't know if they're like screenplays or short vignettes or maybe even a novel. And you're kind of doubting whether you can get it done. I think you're going to get it done. You, a couple of you are worried about starting a new job. I think that's going to go quite well. Uh, the Eagles, see from a higher perspective. Let's not limit ourselves during this time. Dream things into existence. That's really what this is about. It's a great time to manifest. I'm posting this on Thursday. It's a great day to make a money bowl if you want to check out that video. It'd be a great day to do that. Doesn't have to be fancy. Um, Also, just in general, a good time to manifest things. Now, uh, we should be a little bit careful, between the eclipses from the 7th to the 21st, we should be a little bit careful about uh, trying to over manifest because there's a tendency to over manifest. There's also going to be a tendency to overspend. I don't know if somebody here is filling up their Amazon cart way too much. I don't know if you just got a new credit card or something, but um, obviously you're adults, you can do what you want, but maybe pare that back. I think there might be some regret if you follow through with that. There's also kind of a new sense of some starting some healthier trends, whether they're eating habits or exercise habits or just meditating or just somebody I think is joined a book club and it's like that active reading, a few hours before bedtime rather than watching the television, I think is really good for you. So kudos to you for doing that. Uh, we do get the trader, exchange energy and create abundance. So How do we manifest things? Do we manifest things by ourselves or do we manifest things with the universe? To me, it's always with the universe. There's always others involved in the manifestations, whether we see them or not. Um, Here, that this is speaking very specifically to somebody who's, I think, in the past used to like pick up old furniture, maybe even just off the street and fix it up and sell it, and that hasn't been profitable lately. It will be again. I'm getting that for somebody. Uh, Also, you know, this idea of bartering for goods, I think, is another way to manifest money. Maybe you have some things you don't want anymore, and somebody has some things you do want. And so looking at these exchanges online, I think, right, money saved is money made. So, um, yeah. And then I like this, the guardian angel spirit, you're not alone. So I know there's a couple, I felt this before I even opened up the reading. There's a few people that have lost a parent over the last couple of weeks, and I think the message here is really you aren't alone. Um, it's a tough feeling when you lose a parent because it's almost like a feeling like an orphan in a way. Um, y- there's nothing that I can say that's going to ease that grief. Nor would I want you to rush through it. It's just something you're going to have to learn, and later in life you will cherish it. I know that's hard to believe, but it is true. Um, so if you're going through a bereavement, I'm sorry that's going on, but just know this is a message from passed over loved ones that you aren't alone, and that you still have that guidance and that wisdom that you carry with you that you learned from them. So I think for another person, not all relationships are easy. And so when somebody passes over that you had a relationship with that wasn't particularly easy, there's sometimes feelings of guilt and stuff. Just try to work through that and try to let it go. As best as possible. That one's going to be tricky. So, yeah, best of luck to you on that. Okay. Um, all right. So, what do we need to know? Just for the collective here. Just some cards for the collective. What do we need to know about the eclipse here? It's definitely a learning. It's a great potential for learning over this week and in between the eclipses as well. And it's a spiritual learning. I mean, yeah, I mean, pick up knowledge as well, but it's a spiritual learning is what it feels like. It feels like there's just a great potential to like recommit to joy or recommit to contentment or recontent to taking time for ourselves, even if it's just 2 minutes in the parking lot after we put our groceries in the trunk, or if it's just 2 minutes when we get home before we get out of the car, or 2 minutes extra in the shower. Um, this recommitment, I think, is a big part of discovering. We get families, reunions, and celebrations. The Ten of Cups. Maybe it's a recommitment to your pets and your children and grandchildren and um, parents and grandparents. Not that there's going to be a drastic change in behaviors or anything like that, but just more of a checking in. And I don't even know if it's that. it's more like all the little sayings, especially for some grandparents and parents that have passed, the little sayings that we learn along the way, um, like relearning those. Like my grandmother would always ask the question when I was young and I'd say I was going to do something. She'd say, "Well, what good can come of this?" And most of the answer was nothing, but meaning her point, meaning, well, then why do it? But you know, a lot of the times the answer is a lot of good can come of it, right? What good could come up from picking up an online course in something, or somebody's watching a bunch of budgeting videos. I don't think you need to be worried about money, but there's certainly nothing wrong with learning about, how to create a budget, stick to a budget, um, reusing things the way that our parents and grandparents did, especially like glass jars and stuff like that, which almost feels like hoarding, but really they can be reused for things. So I don't know why that's coming through. I think there's been a lot of loss. Yeah, the death card. Um, this is a time of remembrance as well. It's sometimes called the blood moon, the lunar eclipse. And, I think that's just a reminder that there's a period of darkness and then the darkness goes away and the light slowly comes back, right, as the eclipse happens. It feels like a lot of people are going through this particular feeling at this time. I personally haven't picked up on it, but uh, for myself, that is. But it does fit the energies for sure. There's a lot of blaming too, blaming ourselves for things that really aren't quite fair. Uh, you know, Things that happened 30, 40 years ago. I mean, that's a little bit unfair to use today's brain to blame the child from 30, 40 years ago. Uh, but that's kind of the nature of the eclipse, right? It's like these emotions are going to come and go, and they're going to come and they're going to go, and there's like a whole bunch of contradictions, what we've talked about over the last couple weeks. So, just knowing that that's there, that there is going to be some self-toxicity, some self-sabotage, in particular, this idea of I don't want to go to bed, I don't want to go to bed, but you should go to bed because you'd feel better if you fell asleep before, for a couple of you pretty early in the morning, but you're not. You're fine. It's like it's like we're back to that like 4-year old. I'm not going to take a nap. I'm just not going to take a nap. I mean, it's okay to live in that energy, but um, what good is going to come of it? I guess. But there's an anxiety about going to sleep. There's an undercurrent there as well. And we get the Hierophant. There's a lot of energy around this eclipse. A lot of seeking of spiritual guidance, seeking of spiritual needs, whether it's through um, listening to meditations or healing music or just even setting and listening to the birds chirping. That's all part of it. Like we're all part of that bigger plan. And I think the realizations that are potentially possible at this time are quite great if we're willing to put in the work. So, you know, doing some meditating, some yoga, some stretching. Doesn't have to be anything real physical. I know there's a couple of you with some physical limitations. So this could just be, simply just stretching the shoulders and stretching the fingers. And just being quiet in the head, trying to quiet the head, which is really difficult to do, but focusing on that breathing of in and out and breathing in good things and exhaling out the tension, I do think is what's going on here. We do get the Page of Swords or to the Page of Wands at the center of the reading. Fiery messages coming forward during the eclipse. We're going to learn things. Some of it's going to be unpleasant, but that's not about us personally. That's about the global energy. It's going to affect us, but separating global energies from our personal energies, I think, is also an important lesson. Things globally and politically are going to get better. They are. It's hard to believe that because we can't really picture the future. We're just in this like astrological period of time where, it's just really hard to picture the future. So I think, taking some time to work on ourselves um, is maybe worthwhile. Well, I think it's always worthwhile, but in particular because it's kind of like during these next few weeks, it doesn't feel like we're going to be able to accomplish anything globally. So really the biggest thing we can accomplish is with ourselves and with this Hierophant card, working on this toxicity, working on our grief. Um, these aren't easy energies by any stretch, but they're very worthwhile energies. We will come out on the other side quite stronger. The Eight of Wands, the time period's going to go by fast. So take advantage of it while you can. These energies aren't going to be there for forever. In fact, by this time next week, a lot of it will already have dissipated. Finding your passion and working on that. There might be the opportunity to reveal a new passion. Somebody's doing one of those paint by numbers pictures. Little things like that, or I don't know, there's like string and a hook, and I've never seen one of these things before, but looks like you put the string through a hook and make a picture, something like that. Um, little things like that, these little hobbies that we pick up that are creative in nature, they lead to bigger things. They lead to bigger explorations, and the paint by numbers, it feels like it leads to just painting without numbers and painting to explore. So I think that could be really good, and somebody's going to get a really good deal on some art supplies at a Goodwill store. Um, Bombshells and surprises. We're really going to surprise ourselves with how much we know, especially those of us that have passed a certain age. As we get older, we just gain knowledge. We just do. Some of it by choice, some of it by life's events. Um, there's going to be the need to help others as well. Not necessarily during this eclipse time, but coming forward in particular, I think there's going to be some guiding some nieces and nephews and grandchildren in particular through some difficult things going on with their parents. The Magician card, manifest, 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 manifest. It's there. It's there for the taking. Um, how you choose to do that is up to you. There are multiple techniques out there, certainly. But I would encourage you to kind of just explore your own thoughts on how to manifest things. Intuitively, we just know how to do it. So there is a focus on family. Some of it's good, some of it's bad, some of it's neither good nor bad. It just is. Um, the universe is going to reveal a lot of things that are global, that are outside of ourselves. Uh, we get to choose how to react to them. And, I think if we react by focusing on them too much, we might possibly lose this potential energy to just manifest really good things and a lot of healing energy. Of course, you can focus on what you want. It's kind of what I'm seeing. Again, great potential to discover a new passion, one that you didn't even think was possible, making clothes. It could be anything. Um, Again, there's this potential for this distraction for sure, and this distraction is going to be big. And there's also this energy of treating ourselves quite unfairly. I do think there's a lot of people that are revisiting grief or just currently going through grief right now. And if that's you, you know, it's a process. There's really nothing I can say to make that go faster or better or less, but just know that, you're not alone, right? We got the white feather spirit. You're just not alone. Uh, Turning to spiritual matters, I think, can be of help. Also, know that this time period passes. You know, Grief is like anger, is like everything else. It's fleeting. In the grand scheme of things, it feels terrible while we're going through it, but it is fleeting in the grand scheme of things. And I think we have the potential to really surprise ourselves um, with how much it is that we know. So that's kind of exciting. Underneath here, we have the Three of Wands. It's inevitable. Somebody's planning a trip to, um, looks like somewhere in Asia. Um, okay, so let's pull some cards for some specific zodiac signs. I think I want to use a different deck. Let's start with Aries, and we'll just work our way through the natural order here. So that's one or two cards for Aries. What's Aries need to know this lunar eclipse on the 7th? Message for Aries. Um, let's see, we get the Seven of Wands and we get the Fool card. This is great. This is really good energies. So the Seven of Wands is taking care of ourselves, being defensive, but in a healthy way, setting really good boundaries and keeping what we have earned, and particularly when it comes to knowledge. So if you've learned how to be assertive, if you've learned how to be, frugal when necessary, holding on to that and then using that to start something anew with the Fool card. This is fantastic. Great, great energies uh, for Aries. What about Taurus? Taurus feels a little bit more tricky. Uh, this is the I don't wanna. This the stubbornness is there. Yeah, we get the Moon card, the volatility and keeping things hidden. Like it's like you don't want to, but you're going to. You just don't want to. Um, but you're going to, whatever that means to you. And then justice, putting things in balance. It feels like some things are just a little bit out of balance, a little bit more volatile than they need to be. This could be with respect to relationships, um, but not relationships with people, relationships with food, relationships with our bodies. Um, yeah, drugs and alcohol could be something that you're looking to address. This would be a good time to do that. I think you'll discover you're a lot stronger than you think you are. Okay, Gemini. Definitely some potential for some love connections here, if that's something you're looking for. How about that? There's the Lover's card. Um, So definitely that potential. And the Empress card, if you're trying to, get pregnant, this is a good time. If you're not wanting to, this is a good time to know to be careful. Um, does this feel like it's a very nurturing time though? It's not just about fertility, and it's not just about, seeking out new relationships. It could also be rekindling relationships as well. It's a quite a lovely energy. It's very, very nurturing. So, yeah, and that fertility message might not be for you, but for somebody, if you're really wanting grandkids, I feel like that's going to happen for you this year or within the next 12 months, I should say. Okay, Cancer. This too feels like one of the more stubborn type energies here. Somebody's been putting off going to get their hair cut for a while. Not sure why that is, but I mean, there's nothing wrong with these types of procrastinations. It's but when they start to nag at us, that's when it's just like this is this is a kind of a procrastination of wanting to start something new, but not knowing the timing or something like that. Uh, it's, yeah, somebody in particular is trying to figure out how to start a book. Um, I think you do figure it out. It's not going to write itself if you're not in front of the keyboard, though. Okay. Yeah, the Four of Swords might be having a really hard time sleeping and focusing, and maybe that's a little bit why there's the procrastination. It might just not be entirely self-sabotage. There also could be some physical elements to this as well, just not sleeping well. And then we get the illusion and delusion card. It's kind of like we want to get stuff done, but we're kind of just hoping it gets done without us doing it. So, yeah, the Cancerian energy, somewhat similar to the Taurus energy, but um, that's a tough one. You'll figure it out. Okay, Leo. We get the Page of Swords here. Again, this kind of self-sabotaging ability over the eclipse season, which really I think is just not taking advantage of the potentials that are there. I don't think it's actually anything harmful. And then we get judgment. Yeah, it's like one of those things like if you don't do what you're wanting to do, then later you're going to kind of beat yourself up about it. So just know that you could choose to either beat yourself up later or you could choose to start the project you're wanting to start. Okay, Virgo. Virgo. Very driven here. Some definitely stuff that needs to get done that you're wanting to get done and are going to get done. Yeah, everything's working in your favor for sure. The Nine of Pentacles. Um, you have everything that you need to get done what you need to get done. For some of you, this is around money. Some of you it's around health. Um, and then we get the full card, which is fantastic. It's absolutely great, great energy for Virgo. Okay, Libra, Libra. Yeah, this naturally, life's normally pretty in balance for you, but it's a little bit tricky lately. It feels a little bit like you're not getting all the information from the people that you're talking to, like people are holding back. It almost feels like you need to be an investigative journalist or a detective just figure out how to buy car insurance. It's kind of that type of energy. The Four of Wands, people could also be about marriage, but I don't think it is in this case. And the Knight of Cups, yeah, it's like feels like you're dealing with somebody that's kind of like a used car salesman type energy, and it's really hard to. I'm gonna pull one more card for you. It's really kind of hard to figure out what's true and what's not true. But I think the eclipse reveals that. So if something seems too good to be true, it probably is. One more card. Okay. Get the Ten of Pentacles and inheritance. Yeah, I think it's a tricky time. Tricky time. It's hard to know what's true. And this could even be within members of your own family. So trust your intuition. If something doesn't sound right, it's probably not right. Okay, Scorpio. Okay, things feel good here. Um, yeah, getting ready for birthday season as well. Lots of planning. Let's see, we get the sun card. Yeah, it's like kind of like your time to shine. Somebody's gonna get some recognition at work or for some volunteer efforts. We get the Six of Pentacles. Yeah, the giving and receiving of something. If you're feeling like underappreciated, that's not really true. It's like people are kind of working behind the scenes to give you something like an award or something along those lines. And so it almost feels like you've been treated poorly, but it's like people are just trying to surprise you. So yeah, I think it's a good energy for Scorpio. Sagittarius. Hey, this feels like the creative side coming out here, finding that passion, that fire that's kind of natural for you. Um, yeah, we get the three of wands. Really, I don't know if you're planning a trip or thinking about planning a trip, or if it's just daydreaming. It doesn't matter which. Go with it, I think is the message. And that'll plant the seeds for what's to come next, which is you taking off with this newfound passion and doing something with it, whether it's actually taking a trip or whether it's just um, finding a really good hobby. So that's exciting. Okay, Capricorn. Capricorn. A lot of self-sabotage here over the summer months. We still have some parts of summer to go, but I think some of this lets go over the eclipse season, which is good because you could use the break. You've been pretty hard on yourself. Yeah, it feels somebody in particular about throwing away something you didn't mean to throw away. That is, but uh, yeah. So we get the Tower card. I don't think this is bad. I think this event's already happened. It's just you haven't uh forgiven yourself for it. And then we get the Two of Wands choices. And then the cycle's gonna end. It's gonna complete itself. Whoever you think's angry about this isn't. And they might not be with us anymore either. This could be like you feel like you threw away a family heirloom and um I think you're just being really hard on yourself because you didn't mean to. It just happened. Okay, Aquarius. Yeah, lots of anxiety around this eclipse, Aquarius. A lot of not sleeping well here. It feels quite heavy, but it'll lift, right? Once the eclipse happens, it'll lift. That'll start to ease a bit. And again, you'll get back into that daydreaming type energy. And then you two get the world. It's gonna end. That cycle is gonna end. This sleeplessness and anxiety. And for one of you in particular, or maybe a couple actually, it's even beyond anxiety. It's like panic attacks, that kind of stuff. So those do get better. Obviously, seek out medical attention if you think you need it. Okay, and Pisces. Pisces. A lot of you is excited for winter in the northern hemisphere. Um, Seeing a big pot of soup and fresh bread. The death card, I like that. That's good. This dark cycle's ending as well for you and new things coming through. What's new? Um, Potential romance. So that's good. Now that doesn't have to be a physical romance. It doesn't even have to be another person. It might be romance with cooking. I mean, cooking's very sensual. And we get the Page of Cups, emotional messages. You really kind of get the potential to be a really good storyteller at this time. And the Five of Swords, especially stories about some things that were painful in the past. Certainly don't tell them if you don't want to, but if you do, there's that potential certainly there for you, Pisces. So, all right, let's just throw a few oracle cards for everybody and kind of end it there. Um, do you think, when I was opening up here, I kept seeing a parrot in the scramble, and that always means watch your words. So just be careful about what you say to who and when. I think that's for all of us. Uh, the sandpiper spirit, be playful. Yeah, don't take life too seriously. Um, some of these energies are pretty heavy, so we can forget. And those of you that are going through that grief type of energy, it's time to heal. Don't rush it. There's not really anything anybody can say to make it go faster. And just one more. The otter spirit. You are never alone. This is the second time we've gotten this. So for those of you that are grieving some passed over loved ones, just know that you're never alone. All right. Thank you for watching. And I'll be back with another video.